Hey, Vim.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yep. Hey,
Hey,
how you doing?
good. Recovering from the travel.
Yeah, you've been traveling around a lot, right? The last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it was a bit, yeah, a little bit too much, I think. If I'm honest. But yeah, I'm happy that it's done. Yeah. So let's see. Let me share my screen, right? Do you see the slides? Do you see the?
Yeah, the docs. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I don't know how many people will attend today.
Yeah, I guess Marcus is still off. Fabian is also not going to join.
Yeah, correct.
So
Yeah, we can start. I saw that you put some stuff on the agenda.
yeah, some stuff to discuss that came up in the last calls sometime.
Okay.
Yeah.
So first we have the here Gurley is here. Okay.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey.
So Gurley, maybe you can also update us a little bit on the status of the project with CNCf.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not expecting a lot of people to join. I don't know whether Hans will join. Let me ping Hans. Guess he did some work on the testing and stuff like that. No, there's someone else. All right. Yeah. Yeah, I pinged him. I don't know. Let me see whether he will join. Yeah. Okay, so release content. Is there anything in particular?
I don't think so. I think there was a release done with some of the bug fixes that we had. This was maybe 2 weeks ago now. I found there was some other issue that came up, but I haven't had time to really look into it that much. I did create a MR that reduces the effect of 1 nil pointer. This is in SDC Protos, which means that would need to be upgraded, tagged, and then bumped in the repos of the individual ones. That's not merged yet, but there's also no one to review it, I think, currently. So
which PR is that?
I'll have a quick I need to check.
We'll check on toString. Is that the one?
Yes, exactly. It's number 95.
Yes. Okay, I'll have a look at this.
Yeah, because this was causing a nil pointer exception, but it won't solve the fact that the value is nil, but it might give some more clues as to why the value is nil. So
yeah, it's an enhancement. Yeah, it's a bit. Yeah, it's an enhancement. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because once this is merged, then to have it actually reflected in the data server, it needs to also be bumped there, as it's not part of the
Yeah,
server.
correct. Yeah. I'll have a look at this today. Yeah.
And otherwise, there were some other conversations going on in the data server. There was a bug with the XML generation, but we need to see with Marcus, I think, if I had a solution there, but I don't know if there are any knock-on effects. And I think that we need to wait for Marcus, who is back next week, in 2 weeks. I don't know when he's back exactly.
Let me check. I think it's next week, but it's going to be, I'm not sure. I think it's Tuesday. 1 second.
Yeah, then he would miss the meeting here, but I can still reach out to him as well.
Yeah, it will be, wait 1 second. Yeah, we can continue. Yeah, for whatever reason. Species. Slow. Yeah, I'll check in a bit when he's back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, I would say we don't do a release now. I don't think there's anything to release.
Yeah. So he is back. He's still off next week. He will be back the week after.
Okay.
The week of the 8th of December.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Then the next ones are sort of check-in with status of things.
Yeah.
The first one, deployment namespace, this is something that I brought up the last session, I think, the last session I was attending, which was that currently the namespace of SDC's deployment is network system.
Yeah.
Maybe this should be changed to something like SDC system to follow the pattern that, for example, Flux has for the namespaces. And otherwise, maybe we want to set it to be somehow dynamic so that we could have Helm charts where you could specify the namespace that it goes to, for example. I think currently Kform is used to generate some of these resources, and it has the hard-coded namespace in there. So I don't know what the limitations are. I think Hans said last time that you had discussed or you had spoken about wanting to do something like this at some point, but I didn't know the status or what your thoughts are now.
Yeah, so at some point I was proposing config system, but that's also constraining. So SDC system is a better proposal, I think. Now, yeah, so we can easily make it, render it dynamic with Kform because it's just, but we at the moment the artifacts don't do it. So the only thing that we render dynamically at the moment is the image, but we can easily add. It's just changing a value to $, and that's done. So yeah, I mean, yeah, we can. Yeah, so I didn't do it yet because I don't think there was consensus on the naming somehow. But it was all. It's on my things, on my list of things to do, because I believe network system is not the right name by default. So I think if we agree SDC system is, it's okay for me. So we can change it. Probably we should do it by default to do it SDC system, right?
Yeah.
I will. So I'm going to most likely, which is the next topic of splitting components. The status at the moment is I haven't done anything at the moment, but my plan is to work on it this week. And it probably also has an effect when we do that, right? So the question is, should we tackle it during that thing, or do we do it independently? I'm open either way. Because we have to, if we, from the moment we change, we split a component. So, and I think Alex, initially I thought, so let me jump immediately to the splitting of component because I think it's related. The situation is that, at the end of the day, I think I was initially thinking only to split in 2 pieces, and then you make a suggestion to also split the data server. So maybe we should immediately split them in 3 pieces from the beginning, right? I went back and forth, so I have been thinking about it myself. So maybe it might be not so bad to split it in 3 pods by default.
Yeah. That initially came up because my thought was that if something crashes, that then the whole pod would crash. But then I found out that it's not the case, and that if one of the container crashes, then the pod goes into not ready. So maybe this is for monitoring something that's a bit more important. The fact that you can then monitor the pieces independently would be a benefit for having them separated into these 3 parts. I definitely think the config API server should be its own.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So those 2 split, but I think should we then immediately not split also the data server from the config server? And we can scale them independently.
Yes, and that also then does this concept, the sharding ability, right? As you then have to adjust things a little bit to allow you, not sharding specifically, but having them hosted potentially different places. Right? So currently it's the co-located one, and there was this desire to have them not necessarily located together.
Yeah, there is some work to be done so at the moment we assume, so at the moment there is some code that needs to be, there is already some provisioning for it, but we need to somehow at some point allocate targets to data servers, right? I think I would wait with that a bit, right? So in other words, I maybe collocated is maybe not the right word at the end of the day, but it's basically single deployment or something like that, where you have just a single data server, a single config server, and a single API server. I mean, they can be deployments, right? But there is only a single data server for the time being. So there is some. What is needed is there is a discovery component, and so there is some logic needed to actually assign a target to a data server. And I would wait with that piece, but I think it makes it better to have the ability to just have 3 pods, and then we'll deal with the scale out at some point, right? But so if we do the work, maybe it's better to do it immediately, split them off in 3 pieces.
Yeah, that for me makes sense.
And just have 1 of each for the time being, and then we can scale. I start working on making it better and scale out independently. I don't know whether anyone else has an opinion about that, but and then the question is, do we do the SDC system at that time? Because the deployments or the artifacts will have to change because of it, right?
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Yeah, my target was to start, hopefully to finish it, but at least to start this, that I have something by this week, by the end of the week. That was my plan.
Yeah, I think one thing here that's important is that the namespace probably shouldn't be defined on the resource, because if you try and do an apply and change the namespace, for example, with kubectl, it will reject it because the namespace is defined on the resource.
What do you mean on the resource?
So, for example, on the specific deployment resource, if you have in the metadata the name and namespace in there, and then try to deploy with the kubectl apply and specify namespace at that stage, kubectl will
use this. We'll use the namespace.
I think it will just throw an error for saying that the namespace is already defined, and it has to be the same as the one that's on the resource. So then it might make sense that there's a customization that gathers together all of these resources. So right now we have one large deployment manifest. Right?
Yeah, artifact, yeah, correct.
And instead of that, maybe it makes sense to have a customization that gathers together these resources, and there you can specify the namespace. That way you can have the default one being SDC system, and this could be directly added. And if somebody wants to change that, they can just get that, modify the file itself. And I don't know, modify the customization.
Yeah,
And
but
customization is sort of the way that most of these components are deployed, if not by Helm.
yeah, but so the idea was always so we generate the artifacts for the default behavior, right? So that's what we are doing. Why we generate this one big blob, right? But the idea is that if you want to customize it, you can do so, because you can have your local artifacts file and then you just generate your own, so you can customize all these parameters.
Yeah, but this relies on the use of K-form as well, right? Then the user has to have K-form.
But we can make a Helm chart, for example, as well, or we can if people nothing stops us from generating a Helm chart or other customization like customize or something like that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I would say customize because it's built into kubectl, right? You can apply it directly there. Helm chart is also just very widely used. So
yeah, correct. Yeah. So the idea is to add capabilities there, then we can just add those, right?
Yeah, I just think it's important that we make sure that we can have this namespace defined dynamically as well. If we're already going to change things around, we might as well make sure that it's parameterized.
Yeah. Okay. With customize, right? And Helm. Right?
Yeah. For example. Yeah.
All right. Then, yeah, status of the secrets. The situation is that the config server is ready, but I was waiting till I got a slot from Marcus to render the pieces, because the most of the work is actually in the data server. So we were so I was waiting till Marcus was ready to plumb the configuration together. But given that that he was busy with the data server side for other stuff, this hasn't progressed. But what is the case is that the sensitive config, so you can render it, but nothing will happen with it.
Mm-hmm.
The whole config server in terms of storage layer and CRDs and stuff like that is completely done. But what is not done is the plumbing to the data server. So at the moment, if you do sensitive config, it's just storage, but there is no controller. But the controller, in other words, yeah, so we just need to render the secrets. So we could do that part, but then we have to send it to the data server, and data server needs to process it. So I was waiting for that logic till Marcus is ready. But so that's the status at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically the plumbing to the data server is missing. Right. Okay, and what is this? Review integration test as a barrier for merge. Ah,
This is stopping a merge from being allowed until integration tests have passed.
yes. Is that an issue or?
There was a case where a bug was released, which meant that the data server didn't start because the merge request, the integration test didn't run, and the merge then was allowed to happen.
Okay.
Yeah, it's basically because we didn't apply the safe to test label.
Ah, okay, yeah. So that's an important thing, Alexander. Yeah. So I think you were not there at the time. So the way it works right now is that we as reviewers of the PR, we have to add the safe to test label. And once that happens, the integration kicks off. The reason we do it like that is otherwise the integration just kicks off all the time and it costs resources. So when we review and say it's okay, we have to add this label.
Yeah, and there's also a security concern. If we run integration testing by default all the time, we're prone to vulnerabilities when outside contributors insert malicious code and so on in the pipeline, and that they can effectively alter code. So that's why we always need to review what's changed first, then apply the label, and then integration testing can kick off.
Yeah, I think that what this is more about is that we don't let the merge happen until the integration test was successful. So that we block to make sure that everything, so the integration tests can't be forgotten, even if you've gotten this.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
And how
is it now a GitHub workflow, the integration test?
Yes.
I think
I wouldn't.
Yeah,
go ahead, Gurling.
I think it's then possible to set it in a way that it's mandatory that to. Can you show me an example? In which repo do I see an example run?
Data server. Data
server. So if I check a pull request there,
you might need to check a closed one. For instance, the improved logging format.
Right, and one with the safe to test label.
Yeah.
Okay. This one here.
Yep.
6.1, for example.
Yeah. And the integration tests ran.
And I have two for some reason in this one. Set up CLab cluster and test 2 times, but I can set it up in a way that it's mandatory for this to pass, so we can merge. Let me just do that quickly.
Is that something that has to be enabled on a per repo basis, or
it has to be done per repo? So I would need to know which repos should I.
Yeah, the main ones are config server and data server, right? These are the main ones.
Yep.
Then I can do that on those.
Because all the rest is contribution too, right?
right. In theory, I just need to authenticate to load this.
Mhm. Okay, but maybe we can do it offline or something.
Yes,
like that.
yes, I will.
Yeah. Can you maybe give an update on the status of the CNCf discussion so far, Gurlik?
Yes, I can. I did as I chatted to the chat. I created the
PR or whatever.
in the issue, yes, in the sandbox repo for CNCf. So that's how you kick off the project, the process on their side. And I had discussions with one TOC member, Ricardo Avarena, I think, who is happy to support us in the TOC. My original idea, Ricardo Roca said that he would be happy to support us, but he will retire from the TSC in January, and they will review this in 2026. And now we have a time set. It will be reviewed now it's in December 16. Okay, we are speeding up. So this will be reviewed in December 16. Previously, it was somewhere in January. Now it's December 16. So there will be a TSC meeting or TOC meeting 16th of December, and they will have the first review there. I'm working on having a meeting with Ricardo just to check if everything is all right. In theory, the only thing what is missing from our application is a roadmap. I don't know how.
I will fix that. I will add it this week.
Okay, cool. Then I can add the link to the issue. At the same time, we as Nokia received the contribution agreement from CNCf, what we will need to sign if the TOC approves the induction. So I start working on it internally with the legal persons to sign that contract, which assigns all the trademarks and whatnot. In this process, I assume that we have the URLs and everything in our control. So that's what we need to assign to CNCf, and they will handle the practical part of it after everything is signed. So I think it's in quite good shape. There are some optional parts of the application which we didn't do, like for example security review and all of these things. But let's just do them as we are in. We can start working on this with CNCf and the security team. So that's the status. I can put the link of the issue to the chat. This is where you can follow up on what's happening.
Yeah, I'll add it to the. Wait, what's this server?
Yeah, so everything is added, has a comment here, and they managed everything is managed as like a normal GitHub project. So all info is in this one.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Maybe one thing is that the adopters is pointing to the PR currently, and it's been merged. So maybe that can be updated to the.
We will update. Yes, thanks for the notification. Yeah.
Very cool.
All right. And then we are added to the landscape, CNCF landscape. So that happened
Oh,
with
yes.
independent of the.
It is, because that's you can have non-CNCF projects there also.
Okay.
So I just created a PR for that, and they merged it.
Ah,
Yeah,
nice.
that's very cool. It's interesting how the primary repository is the docs project. The docs
That's
repository.
Yeah, we
that-
decided.
yeah. Go on.
Yeah, we
I had a-
decided Alexander because the problem is config server is not either, right? Data server. I saw that's because it's split. So we decided, or you have to have the whole GitHub project.
But you can. That's. I think it's a problem in their side. You cannot set an organization.
Yeah.
You have to point to the repo as the main repo of the project, and we don't really have that. So we decided to use the docs project for that purpose.
Yeah, it just means that the statistics are a little bit interesting because the statistics are about the docs.
Yeah,
But
We
it's
can-
fine. It's fine.
We can change that to anything. If you have a better option, it's just a PR to update it.
No,
But we have to have one.
I don't have a better option, but maybe we can add config server and data server as repositories on the drop-down list. I don't know if that's a manual step, but this is listed. I see if you press on the item, then you have repositories drop-down menu, and there it's only the docs. Maybe there it would be nice to have data server.
Yeah, that's a good point. I will look into that. How to do that? I will check that.
It's nothing important. It's just maybe it's nice to see them there specifically.
Oh, it's good. It's good PR that we have it there, and it's better to have it in the right way. I will check.
Thanks.
all right. All right. Then maybe Hans, do you have anything? The latest.
So I have an update. I am refactoring the integration testing a bit as Marcus initially requested. So I'm changing the playbook runs with more variables and input that you can define at each use case that we test in order to make debugging a bit easier. Let's say you want to run a specific intent on a specific node. That should be possible rather than doing all testing at once. So nothing will change from a pipeline perspective. But if you want to debug some certain test cases that fail, it will be much easier to get there. So I've refactored the create, replace, update, and delete playbooks right now. And I'm working on deviations. So deviations for SROS. I'm more specifically working on the non-revertive part right now to refactor that. To move to SRL. So I expect to be done with the refactoring later tomorrow or Wednesday. And then the PR I will create a PR and request Marcus and perhaps Alexander to review before we actually merge it in. So I think the output will be a bit easier to understand. I've documented the intermediate steps also a bit more with commented remarks in order to make that happen. So that's nearly done. And then I think it should be easier debugging what went wrong going forward. A second thing I have feedback from is I tested the data server reorg think branch, which is not effectively in a PR status right now, but I've catched a number of issues. I've logged them when Marcus is able to return from holiday to basically go through those. It looks good from an on-change perspective. So the main issue is that if we subscribe on-change to config, and by default it's config per state, and there are still some issues with data server where it panics or where we have null pointer references. I think that's related to the fact that our Linux boxes return more configuration than what we are expecting in data server. So there are a bunch of leaf refs that are missing and those kind of things. When we actually request the box to only send us config, so that's a knob you can set in the GNMI subscription, then everything seems to work. So that's feedback I'll provide to Marcus. And then a bunch of the null pointer errors that I came across don't happen anymore. I think we still need to fix those null pointer reference cases where data server panics out. But whenever we set the GNMI config subscription knob to only get config from the device, then everything seems to work fine. I did have some additional issues there on the delete part, where sometimes, and especially when you work with leaf references or objects that are referenced to each other, then we sometimes get into a validation state where it's not properly working. So we need to look into that a bit to ensure deletion when it happens. We don't have intents that get into an unrecoverable state, basically. So that's the two main issues that I saw there. Other than that, it looks good. And yeah, we need to add netconf to that branch and have it work, have it in a working state, and then we should be good to move onwards.
I have
Netconf is not, I assume, right?
No, netconf is not in there yet. No.
Sorry, yeah, go on, please.
So yeah, we have to first of all make netconf work in that mode where we basically have the tree on sync. So make that work, and then we have to look into options for streaming within netconf, because I don't think we we rely on netconf get operations for the time being, and we have to look into if there are any streaming capabilities from a netconf point of view as well.
Yeah, so there's netconf subscriptions, but not every vendor supports them. And sometimes they're worse than just doing a netconf get. So
yeah, if you look to IETF, they are working on the yang push, right? So there is a different mechanism being standardized for this.
Yeah, netconf is a bit. Yeah. But I have two follow-up questions that are on this path, but not necessarily exactly related. One is I found that when data server panics and restarts, then data server no longer knows about the data stores and the targets and cannot sync config anymore. So if you have a config that causes that you apply to the cluster that causes a nil pointer exception in data server, then no config anymore is synced.
And how long did you wait for it? Because
eventually it recovers. So it takes I would say perhaps a minute or a couple of minutes, and then you do see the create target or data store requests coming from config server, and then it recreates all the intents. Yeah, but it takes a while.
Okay, yeah, maybe I didn't wait long enough then.
Yeah, there has been some enhancement made for this, but it is still timer based. And so one of the enhancements that we can do is make it subscription based. So you actually subscribe to something, because right now the way it's done is we check the status of the TCP connection. And if that disappears, we recreate it, but it's time-based. So that's why it takes a while.
Okay, yeah. And the idea being, if you're stream-based, then you'll know when the stream closes and you can then resend a request.
Yes, and then it will be quicker.
Okay, yeah. It was just something that I noticed. I didn't wait long enough, maybe, so that's why I didn't see it recover. But yeah, that was one thing. And the other question is towards Hans, maybe. In terms of the integration tests, how complex is it to add another target? Because I believe you have some netconf devices in the integration tests, but I think it would be nice to have a confd device there as well. We can.
It shouldn't be too. It shouldn't be too complex, especially in the new framework where I refactor things. So what I'm initially planning is, because we have several devices and various ways of connecting to devices, like we have GNMI GET, we have GNMI subscriptions. Within subscriptions, you even have once and on change. And then we have all of the several encodings. So the idea was that at least we could create a single device per in the matrix, or with each of the connectivity possibilities, and then we could run basically all of the tests to config sets and config being applied. So in that aspect, we could even add a confd target, as you mentioned. The only requirement I would see is, because now we are running on public runners or GitHub runners, that it would be easier if they are container-based devices that we can spin up. So if that's the case, then it should not be a big problem to add those.
Yeah, we have them as containers.
Yeah. Aside from that, so currently for netconf we only do SROS testing. I was planning, because our SR Linux is also supporting netconf. I was planning to add SR Linux as well as a netconf device, and then obviously the confd device we could add. And then longer term, we can even look towards adding other vendors that have a public container image available that we can, put in.
Yeah, that would be good for us, especially for confd at least. Then we also get integration tests against that.
If we can,
Thanks.
Can you point me offline to the confd stuff? Then I can start looking into that too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think Mark has started experimenting with it as well. It's not super straightforward, but we can discuss it a bit.
Yeah. Okay.
all right. And did you do anything on Talos? Probably not, but I'm just asking.
No, Talos, I haven't made any progress there. So the thing I'm able to do is I'm able to install as a CIO on Talos. It's sort of similar to OpenShift, like it's a secured Kubernetes deployment. And there are two ways of running it. So in the first way, you run it as a sort of kind way, where you spin up a container for the control plane and then a number of workers. In the second way, you spin them up as VMs and create your Talos cluster as such. I need to look into the various ways of setting those up. But so far, I haven't come across a scenario where SDC doesn't seem to work. So I'll need to look into it deeper, why Severin reported initially, or what the differences are with what I deployed versus what he deployed, and so on.
Okay. Yeah. No, but yeah, let's focus first on the integration test. I think that's most important right now. All right. Anything else from someone? If not, then we can take 15 minutes back. Yeah, and so I'm back in town, so I'll be there next week again. Yeah. All right. Thanks.
All right.
And then we'll be in touch.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good
Cheers.
afternoon.
Goodbye.
Bye.